Okay, I give it 10 seconds and then you can start.
Carolina Catholic Closeup is pleased to introduce Lisa Feeley, local author, with her new book, An Accountable American. Following graduation from Southern Methodist University, Lisa has carved out a life as an author of 3 books, senior professional human resources and retirement planner, financial advisor, and an adjunct university professor. She has been married for 31 years and has 2 grown daughters and is a new resident to South Carolina. Welcome, Lisa. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. We love South Carolina. Wanted to come down and retire here eventually. So happy to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. Now, that little bio blurb for your life story was hardly enough to really say what you've been doing. So please feel free to carry on.
Well, so for those of us that are, 50 plus years, it's hard to capture everything in a few, but I would say I've been very fortunate, and I just call myself a mutt because I just always jumped in and did whatever was, I guess, whatever God wanted me to do at the time. So I've had a lot of different careers, and being a daughter of a Air Force, pilot, you learn to go with the flow a lot because we've traveled.
I know that well. And in fact, didn't you mention something I read somewhere? You did some kind of a survival mission or course or something. Please tell us about that.
Well, I always joke when people ask, how'd you get the basis of An Accountable American besides having a dream? I think it really stemmed, and I kind of laugh at my mom and dad for, my dad always wanted us to understand everything that he went through as the Air Force. So once he taught us how to do the basics of survival training, and then he got us lost in a forest in California for 10 days.
Oh, no.
And I was like, really, Dad? So I will tell you a secret, Pam, and anybody listening out there, don't try to trick your parents, because what happened after that is that I got frustrated and I said, oh, well, I'm going to pretend to be lost when they were coming back to get my sisters and I. So we went into a bathroom, Pam, and we pretended to hide. And a bear, a true big black bear, put his behind on that door for 3 hours. So that, I think God was teaching me a lesson of not to, you got to trust your parents and don't try to trick your parents, because that did not work out well.
It's a great story. Well, thanks for sharing that. Now, you've written this book, An Accountable American, Choosing a Life of Enlightenment, Peace, and Prosperity. From where did you get that idea, Lisa?
Again, I think I shared a little bit. It came to me in a dream, and without going into all those boring details, in essence, by the time we'd finished our house down here and moved in, it was crazy. And in January, the dream just kept coming back to me with more specifics. And I guess having taught Lean Six Sigma, and if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of a long process efficiency methodology type of a theory. And having taught that for so long, it just kept coming to me that, so many people use lean in their life, right? In addition to work. And how can I apply that to helping more Americans be accountable so that we can all have a much more peaceful life and have a chance of prosperity, really getting our inalienable rights, right? What is the path forward to having a much better life, I think, and I think so many people want that today, but we're in chaos, as you know.
Sure. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Wow. Lisa, what is the hook here for readers? I mean, accountability sounds like a serious task. Are you painting a finger at our society in decline? Please explain.
No, great question. And a lot of people say, well, gee, is this going to hurt some people's feelings? And are you being political? I got to tell you, I promise I'm not. My intention is really inspirational leadership. I'm really trying to say, look, I believe in my heart that if Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, and Reagan all came back to life for some reason,
wow.
They'd be shaking their head today, Pam. They'd
God.
be saying, what did you do to our country in the last 4 years? And
not to mention our family, our own parents' generation.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring back just good old civil society and how do we help people. But it is a tough love approach, I will tell you. If you want to think that you miraculously can have an enlightened and a peaceful and a prosperous life without putting in any effort, it's kind of like saying my 401k is not worth it. It's more that I should just play the lottery for my future retirement. And I guess as a retirement planner and finance person, I would tell you, probably not a good plan.
Well, you would know. Very good. That's great. Well, in less than 2 generations, everything has degraded. We're a long way from our religious roots, as you well know. What's your take on the current status of our society, and what are the prospects for returning to a peace, as we just said, of our inalienable rights that they provide?
I mean, I think the bottom line, Pam, is there's good news, and you could say bad news, but I really think there's more good news. Is we have nothing but upside right now. We have the ability, especially as Catholic Americans, to be honest, I think we have what I call in my book, faith, grace, and choice. What that means is there is a blueprint for a successful America, but that blueprint starts with you and I, right? So a lot of people will say, oh, well, that's so-and-so's problem, or that's this problem, or that problem. No. That's we the people. It is our country, and this is our doing. And, I travel a lot, Pam, as you know, from my career, and talk to so many, what I'll say is everyday great people, right? Very good fellow Americans. And, they'll say, but we have some systemic this, and we have systemic that. And I guess, having been an instructor, right? I mean, systems do not create themselves. We have artificial intelligence coming. We have some wonderful, powerful computers, right? And robots. But I've not yet seen a full system completely create itself without human intervention. So I look at those individuals and I say, now, do you really believe, right? If you're going to be rational and logical and look at the facts and research, do you believe those systems completely created themselves? That's not the case. The case is there's a process behind it. And this is how you and I fix things, right? You've had situations where you wanted to be better organized, or you had a problem at work.
Right. Well,
right?
That term systemic seems to be all over the place. Isn't it just really an engineered term to kind of detract from the real problems at hand?
Well, you and I have chatted in the past with regards to how this comes to be too. You cannot take on the mindset of being a victim. You can't take on the mindset of just throwing your hands up and saying, well, there's nothing I can do. What can we do, Lisa? Well, what can we do? We can get engaged, be accountable. And if you're accountable and you help your loved ones be accountable, and you hold your church and societal leaders accountable, and you vote accountably, and that is not being political at all. What that's saying is, if you're going to be a good American citizen, that's one of the biggest rights we have, right? We're trying to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You cannot detach that from the sovereign rights we have as we the people, and how we vote accountable or not accountable people in the positions to lead us.
Yeah. Well, I really like your approach, which is the faith, grace, and choice. But it does concern me a bit because of what we just got through talking about, this victimhood. And people will throw up fate all the time, so they exclude all the other things that are really generating all of this accountability in one's life. But they'll say, oh no, but fate, I was brought up, bad parents, or I'm poverty, and I have all these diseases, and on and on and on, and they get stuck there. Fate.
Right. And I think that is a challenge as well, is that you look at again, not finding your way out, and people want to look back, and they'll say, because of this would happen. I always try to say, look, there's only so much you can control, which is where the fate comes in. We have, by God's grace, been put where we are, to whom we were born, where we were born, etc. But what can we control? What can we do through goodwill, through the free will that God gave us to change our life, to do what use our talents, right? So the bottom line in an accountable American is, how do you leverage what you have, your situation now? So in real life, as you know, in a project, you say, what's our current state, right? And what levers do we have to change that current state to achieve our future state? What are we trying to solve? Right. So a quick example for you is, one of the biggest challenges we face in our nation, right, is poverty, right? So
Yeah.
that's a bad problem we have in our country.
Sure.
How can we solve poverty? A lot of people say, oh, Lisa, there's just no way. You have thousands of issues. That's simply not true. The two issues we know, Pam, from over 350 hours of research I've conducted is education and marriage. So we have moved in 40 years from having, a very low percentage of babies in our country being born outside a committed relationship and marriage to now 40% last year. I mean, it's just a sad number.
Yeah, it's just
so we're going to say we're Catholic and we believe in, all this stuff, but then we're going to turn our back and stick our head in the sand. It doesn't work that way.
No, I think that's where, relativism comes in. And so Catholics who claim to be devout, then they say, but there's this exception here. There's always this exception. And there really isn't. We know that there's only one truth. Well, that's really well stated there, Lisa. 40% of proceeds from your book go to Catholic charities. Which ones, and how can our listeners purchase An Accountable American?
Thank you so much. And I will say, I'm very excited about that. That was part of the dream I had is, hey, let's give this money to charities and start spreading, again, the love everywhere we can to help others, especially during this time of need in the pandemic. So I would say it is available on www.anaccountableamerican.com. And people will say, well, why didn't you put it on Amazon? And to your point, then I can't give 40% because, a lot of it goes to other things. So I'm trying to keep it on our website so that we can give more. So when you go to the website, you can choose the charity you want. On the local charity level, you can write in which charity you want. It doesn't have to be a Catholic charity. We're trying to help Catholic charities. We're trying to help national charities as well. So what I would just encourage you is, if you buy the book, please let me know where you want your 40 to even 50%. So if it's local, Pam, we're going to size 50%. I'm trying to really support our local charities here.
Beautiful. So the readers can purchase your book and also be accountable.
That's right. And let's hope that they will share that and learn truly how to be accountable. And the only thing I'm going to beg is, please, please, please don't just let your emotions take over. Be rational, be logical, look at the facts and be accountable.
Yep. Well, of course, that's just it right here, right now. The election's coming up. Go to the ballot box with your facts, not your feelings. Right. That's perfect, Lisa. Do you have a final takeaway for our audience?
Oh boy, there's so much. I would say, and again, I'm a stats person, right? I'm a research person from my background being a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt. But what I would say is, without trying to be political, people say, well, what do you mean by vote accountably or vote American? What I mean is, don't just consider yourself, and especially as Catholics, we're our brother's keeper, right? We are responsible and should be loving our neighbors, love one another. So vote for the bigger part of the country, right? Vote for what is right for all. How do we lift all boats? And the only way to do that, I will tell you, is to vote for the accountable people. Vote. There is another more accountable candidate than another. So what you need to do is understand the facts and don't worry about the idiosyncrasies of what someone said during this campaign trail thing or that ad. I just ignore all that, Pam, especially for the younger people trying to figure out what's true and what's not. I would tell you we've reached a sad state that I'm not sure we can find the truth in the media anymore, all the noise coming at us, but you can read good books, you can find factual information and vote for accountable candidates. Vote them in because they're going to be accountable. So if you say you believe in A and B and that candidate is absolutely 100% against A and B, that's not an accountable vote.
Right. Yeah. Right. Good point. There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, An Accountable American is the book that should be in everyone's library right now, not only for you, the readers out there, but also for your children, especially the young adults coming out now. They're all confused and not knowing which direction to go. Lisa, thank you for joining us today on Closeup. It has been a pleasure to introduce you to our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me, Pam. It's been a pleasure. God bless.
Pleasure's been all mine. For the Carolina Catholic Closeup, I'm Pam Cullen.